Hello my nectarines, Nono here, and I'm back with another video. We are gonna have so much fun today. We're gonna be comparing two brands up against each other and seeing which one is better. Starting with the XCOAT tips from BTARTBOX. And they are going to be going up against the Miss 6 pre-lasting gel tips that I found on Amazon. When I first saw these, I thought these looked pretty familiar, and I figured it would be really great if we could compare the two brands together and see which one is better. I saw this concept from Murdered Manny's here on YouTube, loved it, and I wanted to try it, so shout outs to her. So let's not waste any time and get straight into it. Now, when I initially saw this packaging, I said to myself, this looks so familiar. And I pulled out the original packaging that BTARTBOX used to have. And guys, it basically is the same thing. They look identical. Even the writing on the back was the same. I was like, Miss 6, Siana, come on now. I can definitely see why BTARTBOX opted to change their packaging. I love it now. Love the sleeve, love the black and white. Way more easier to identify. So I quickly removed all the packaging and let the comparison games begin. And when they're lined up like this, you guys, it's kind of hard to tell which brand is which. So we're going to play a quick game, quickly glance over the screen and let me know which brand is which. The OGs will know, okay? The OGs will know. I zoomed you guys in so we can take an intricate look at each of the tips, starting with the Miss 6 brand. The first thing that sticks out for me is the fact that the white French part looks like it was laser printed, and it's kind of pixelating on the sides. I don't know if you guys can see that. I'm also noticing that they're quite transparent because you can clearly see the nail stand that the tip is being situated on. If you guys notice anything else, please let me know down in the comments. Now let's cross over to Miss BTARTBOX. As you guys can see, there's a huge difference already. The tip is much more opaque, so you can kind of make out that there's a nail stand, but not as transparent as the Miss 6 brand. Another huge thing that I'm noticing is that French smile line. It is way more defined, it's not pixelating, and it kind of looks like it was hand painted on, and it looks like, you know, it just looks well crafted. If there's anything else that you're noticing as well on this tip, let me know down in the comments. I really enjoy looking at the cross section of nail tips, so we're going to be cutting both brands in half, and we're going to take a closer look at how they are, like what is the difference between the two. If anything kind of sticks out, we will find it. First thing I noticed, you guys, and this is the Miss 6 brand, is that it's a little bit more stiff. I don't know how to explain it. It's just stiff, and it isn't as thin towards the cuticle area. It is quite tough, but if we compare it to the BTARTBOX tips, you will notice that it is much more thinner towards the cuticle area, and it kind of has a bounce to it, which makes it sit way more comfortable on the nail instead of it being like rigid and hard. The BTARTBOX tips are much more flexible and they kind of bounce back, but the Miss 6 not as much. So yeah, that was quite interesting. Next up, I decided to test both brands and see how well they perform when acetone is applied on the surface. I'm starting with the Miss 6 brand, and I'm just using a regular gel brush, saturating it with acetone. I'm gently brushing it on the surface of the nail, and honestly, I didn't think anything was going to happen, you guys, but as I started to saturate the nail more and more, it started to pucker and like shrivel and and just like come together. It was just weird. It gave me the same look that paint stripper does to paint, you know, like, you know, paint stripper. And the more I applied, the more wrinkled and shrivelly and and like, you see it, it's so strange. That is so crazy. I honestly didn't expect this to happen at all. So I definitely noticed that the Miss 6 tips have a coat that kind of protects the nail, but unfortunately it doesn't really like do well when acetone comes in contact with it. It completely disintegrated and it got gooey and mushy and gross. And yeah, as you guys can see, it peeled right off, and you could definitely see the little chunks of top coat or whatever it is. Not cute at all. Not cute. Now it's time to do the exact same steps to the BTARTBOX XCOAT tips, and I'm using the same step, using the same brush, using the same acetone, and I'm brushing it down the nail. I initially was like, let me give it a few seconds, and nothing happened. As I was applying the acetone, it was drying immediately, which was quite strange. But the interesting thing about the BTARTBOX XCOAT tips is that they have a layer of matte top coat that kind of protects the French and protects the nail, which is really amazing. At some point I kind of dunked the surface of the nail directly in some acetone. Nothing happened, you guys. Now obviously I had been applying acetone for quite a amount of time, and I noticed that the nail was a little bit damp because it soaked up a little bit of that acetone. Now I thought it'd be interesting to see how it performs, so I grabbed my cuticle pusher and I just started scratching the surface of the nail. As you guys can see, nothing is really happening to that French smile line. It is still there, honey. The technology on these is insane. Obviously you can soak these off, so acetone will eventually corrode the nail, but I love the fact that they put a lot of thought in protecting the tips with that extra coat. I decided I wanted to apply both brands on one hand, so I'm going to be applying 2 of each, and to do so I'm going to be using the XCOAT Gap Filled Solid Nail Gel. Love this so much, you guys. I am halfway through finishing this jar. I am loving it. It's the best solid nail gel I've ever used when it comes to attaching your tips. And then I'm going to be further protecting the nails with my XCOAT Protection Duo, which is the builder gel and the top coat. I'm only going to be applying this on the BTARTBOX nails because their brand has all these products to protect the nail. And then lastly, I'm going to be using the BTARTBOX gooseneck lamp to flash cure my tips. As I was about to apply the tips, I noticed another key important difference between the two brands. The XCOAT tips come with a pre-installed primer on the nails, so you don't have to etch them. The Mystics tips have been etched a bit, so you also don't have to etch them. But I love the primer situation more because then it just helps with the overall longevity of the nail. Now to attach them, I'm just using a small dollop of the Gap Filled Solid Nail Gel. Guys, you need so little. Like it's crazy how little you need. You don't need a lot at all. And then I'm using the back of my cuticle pusher just to flatten it against the nail, and then I just place it on. No issues whatsoever. My favorite thing about using solid glue gels is that they don't get messy, they're easy to clean, and for me, I'm always making sure that I don't cure gels on my skin. That way I avoid contact dermatitis. So I love this product. I'm actually thinking of doing a video where I do a detailed tutorial on how to apply your full cover tips or Gel-X tips using solid glue gel and all the advantages of using this product because it's amazing. Once it was done, I quickly placed them on my bigger lamp for a full 60-second cure just to make sure that the gel is cured all the way. And this is how the nails are looking at this point. So pretty. Just so you guys don't get confused, on the pinky and the ring finger we have the BTARTBOX XCOAT tips, and then on the middle finger and the index finger we have the Mystics tips. I opted to wear both brands on one hand. That way we can really see the wear and tear and how well the brands, hold up with all the different, day-to-day activities that I put them through. as I was filing the nibs off of the nails, I noticed another key difference between the two brands. The BTARTBOX tends to have a more thicker free edge because they try to mimic the look of salon style acrylic nails, whereas the Miss 6 nails were a little bit thinner. But overall, once I was done removing the nibs, they looked really, really nice. The Miss 6 white is kind of like a stark white, but I really like how cool toned and calmed down. I hope that even makes sense. The white that the BTARTBOX tips have. Now it's time to apply the protection duo. I'm going to start with the builder gel. Again, I'm only going to be applying this on the BTARTBOX nails because the brand thought of the products and they are part of the combo to protect the nails and make sure that they last a bit longer. Unfortunately, I went on the Miss 6 Amazon page and I couldn't see that they had anything of the sorts, so I'm only going to be applying a regular top coat on them. And this is how they look after I'm done with the application and the top coat. These are the Miss 6 nails. Not bad at all. They're just really annoying when you look closely and you can see that little pixelation. But other than that, not bad. I also didn't like that I could see my natural nail, the free edge. A little bit annoying. But what can we do? It's Miss 6. It's 6 girls. 6 yada. And this is how the BTARTBOX nails are looking. Really nice and chic. I love that I can't see my natural nail underneath there, and overall they look nice and chic. Love the shape. I am excited, and honestly they look amazing. So the wear test only lasted for 2 days, you guys. I really wish I could have, done a little bit longer, but unfortunately I couldn't. But in that 2 days, I went to the beach, went to collect some sea glass. I went and picked some wildflowers. It's finally spring, and there's wildflowers everywhere. I recently picked up a new hobby, which is crocheting, and I was knocking the crap out of these tips while I was doing it. I was showering, bathing my son, cooking dinner for my family. I was doing my garden. I have a lot of plants, and if you're a plant mom, it's a lot of work. And I was in there, honey, with my tips. I was in there and I scrubbed parts. I did the most. So finally, let's see how the nails look after 2 days. I'm sure you guys have noticed the difference between the 2 days. The Miss 6 tip started peeling around the free edge. I could definitely tell that if I would wear these for a little bit longer, like 5 or 6 days, they would not look great. And the corners started rounding very quickly. The BTARTBOX nails were hanging in there very well, you guys. Now granted that builder gel and top coat provides extra protection, the corners are a little bit rounded, but the free edge is completely intact, no peeling whatsoever. Overall, I think it's fair to say that the BTARTBOX tips win this one. I had so much fun with this comparison video, you guys. If you have any other brand you would like me to compare up against each other or compare with the BTARTBOX tips, please let me know, because this video was so much fun. Overall, I think that both tips are great, but you guys know BTARTBOX has my heart. The application is always flawless every time, and you know, they're just amazing. I'm gonna link everything used in the video down in the description box. And we've reached the end of the video. I hope you guys are having an awesome day wherever you are. I'll see you guys real soon in the next one. Bye guys.